G's, and welcome back to another reaction video. Now today we got something special for my boy RoboCast. Now honestly, I've been looking at his channel and it has a lot of bangers about games that I'm actually interested in. Today we're looking at why Telltales games died, but he has a lot of other videos. So if you boys want to see those, let me know down in the comments, because you can go check out his channel as well. I'm gonna link it down in the description. There's some bangers there for sure.
In 2012, Telltale Games emerged as pioneers of interactive storytelling and gaming, reshaping the entire industry with their episodic, choice-driven titles. Their breakthrough adaptation of The Walking Dead not only received several Game of the Year nominations, but also established a new market for choice-driven games of this style.
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. The awards The Walking Dead got well deserved. As most of you do know, I recently just hopped on The Walking Dead. I recently just finished chapter 1. I'm about to finish, season 1. I'm about to finish season 2, and I'm moving on to Macon or whatever it's called, and I'm having a lot of fun, so they deserve all those trophies right there.
Telltale found a way to immerse players into worlds where their decisions shaped the unfolding story, and they were untouchable. But
Never
6
seen
years
before.
later, the entire studio would unexpectedly close down, and over 250 people would lose their jobs in a matter of days. So how did a company that had such a meteoric rise to superstardom quickly find themselves in one of the ugliest and most shocking studio closures in the history of the video game industry? Well,
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I know nothing about this. Obviously, because I've been getting into Telltale games recently, I know that they shut down, but I don't know why it shut down. So I'm gonna make a prediction right at the start of the video. Let me know in the comments what you think happened if you don't already know. But I'm gonna say it's either they got bought by a bigger company or they didn't get bought by a bigger company, allowing them to either have internal problems because they got bought or financial problems because they didn't get bought. That's just like a guess though. That's just a theory.
to
A game
tell this
theory.
story, we need to start with their quick rise to fame, because ironically, this is what would lead to their downfall. The three
Crazy
founders of
thinking.
Telltale, Kevin Bruner, Dan Connors, and Troy Molander, all saw some success with the adventure game genre prior to founding the
Molander.
studio. Each of them had come from LucasArts, which during the 90s was basically the leading developer in the genre. But because of
Isn't LucasArts like? Oh no, I'm thinking about the Star Wars, bro. That's my
a round
bad.
of unexpected mass layoffs, the trio decided to take a chance on themselves and start their own adventure game studio called Telltale Games in
Ironic.
2004. In the early years of Telltale, they had found a little bit of success in the genre with releases like Tales of Monkey Island and Back to the Future. However, these
classic?
games never really reached critical acclaim because, well, they were nothing special. The gameplay was relatively stale, the writing was uninteresting, and the same tired tropes were overused to tell the same story in different ways.
You gotta start
They
somewhere.
really just had trouble sticking the landing with any of their releases, and some of their other early titles like Jurassic Park and CSI seemed to echo the same complaints. Mainly that these stories were too basic, too short, and not nearly
Now, as I said in the last reaction video, I'm gonna go back just so y'all boys don't miss anything. But what I realized is, like, The Walking Dead was one of the first point-and-click games I actually played and really enjoyed. And now when you're looking at things like Monkey Island, you're looking at the CSI game, you're like, okay, these are real point-and-click games. There is no debating it.
the same complaints. Mainly that these stories were too basic,
Look at
too
this.
short, and not nearly innovative enough. Because of this, Jurassic Park and many of Telltale's initial titles didn't perform well and would
I'm
put
down to
quite a
hop
bit
on
of
it, though.
financial
Let me know if
strain
y'all
on the
wanna see that.
company. They reached a point where they needed to get something out pretty quickly, so they started scrambling. And ironically, this scramble would lead to the development of the game that would put them on the map and later cause the downfall of the entire company. 2012 marked the
How?
release of the first season of Telltale's The Walking Dead, based on and actually made in collaboration with Robert Kirkman and his famous comic and TV show of the same name. This game wasn't just another Telltale game. It was absolutely groundbreaking for the studio and the gaming industry at large. They managed to strike gold with The Walking Dead's release and sold millions of copies relatively quickly. A lot of the
Deserved.
success stems from the fact that they created an emotionally gripping story that capitalized on the source material it was using. The Walking Dead didn't just tell a story, it created a world that seeped into your bones. The desperation of the survivors, the bleakness of the ravaged landscape, it all felt crushingly real. And the reason why this game did so well was because of the aspect of choice. The way Telltale designed this game, players could truly choose everything along their journey to directly influence the story. The idea of interactive choices that have real consequences on the characters and the story wasn't new to Telltale, but the level at which this was pulled off was significantly higher in The Walking Dead.
Now, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. The last reaction video we did, they talked about this right here. And the craziest part that, like, I saw was there's no wrong answer unless you die. And then it's clearly wrong answer. Because sometimes when I'm playing a game, it's like, bro, should I have made that decision right there? Obviously, when you're allowed to make the decisions, like, okay, clearly there are no wrong answers, right? But in the back of your mind, it's like, did I do the right thing right there? I got people in my stream chat telling me, brother, you need as many people in this final battle as possible. So stop making enemies. And then I'm just out here like, I don't care. I'm making an enemy right here. I'm making an enemy right here. The choice isn't wrong, but is it correct? That's the real question.
Ability to utilize the grim, depressing world from the comics and TV
I remember
shows
this part.
gave them the direction to make choices that actually matter. And, well, this clearly seemed to resonate with the audience because the game received over 80 Game of the Year awards.
Oh,
and
it
sold
deserves
over
it.
28 million copies.
Oh,
12 years
deserved.
later, and The Walking Dead is still touted as one of the best adventure games ever made, and is often used as an example when discussing emotional depth and character writing in video.
Question right now. Walking Dead, Uncharted, adventure game. Oh, we'll even add like The Last of Us to that one right there. Because I know that's an adventure game a lot of people really enjoy. Those 3 games. Which one's top? Rank them in the comments, please.
And is often used as an example when discussing emotional depth and character writing in video game stories. The Walking Dead was a huge risk for Telltale, but it paid off more than they could have ever imagined. It had allowed the studio to rapidly expand, and it also provided them with a definitive Telltale style that they knew could work. And they would successfully utilize this style a second time in 2013 with The Wolf Among Us, which was arguably even better than The Walking Dead. Building upon the brutal choices and emotional depth of its predecessor, The Wolf Among Us constructed a beautiful mystery story, once again utilizing the emotion and depth found in The Walking Dead.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm hoping they don't spoil too much about The Wolf Among Us, because that's not what we're here for. And I just bought this game not too long ago, because people have been suggesting it to me, right? So I'm gonna be hopping on it pretty soon. Let me know how soon you want. Like, do you want another Walking Dead first? Do you want what's it called, The Wolf Among Us first? Let me know in the comments, because I'm down for whatever. This seems like it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Choices were extremely impactful, the characters were well-rounded, and the plot was full of moments that genuinely made a lot of people cry. It was a masterpiece. Then, they repeated the formula again with The Walking Dead Season 2, and it had kind of the same effect. Impactful choices, plot twists, shock, and emotion.
Beautiful
then,
graphics.
They made Tales from the Borderlands, Game of Thrones, Minecraft
No
Story
way.
Mode, Batman, and 2 additional Walking Dead spin-offs, all
Crazy thing, let's go back real quick. I want to play Tales of the Borderland.
from the Borderlands,
Game of Thrones, I'd be down. If y'all boys want to see it, let me know. But I would be fine with passing up on now right there. Never really been a Game of Thrones fan. Minecraft Story Mode, I feel like I missed my opportunity. If y'all boys know how I can get that game right there, let me know, please. I do definitely want to play that. I've watched it in the past, but I was a youngin' when I watched that right there, right? So, like, now I really want to play myself. Batman just played that, finished that a while ago.
Spin-offs, all within the span of 3 years. The same formula, the same choices, the same shock value,
Did it get repetitive?
Twist, the same everything. Sure, sometimes it was executed well, and other times it fell short, but they basically repeated the same formula over and over again and hoped for something new. The shock.
How'd that feel, though? I feel like just because of, like, past experience, dog, people know when I hop into a Telltale game, I know it's gonna be good, right? So how is that feeling? How are people not purchasing it? That's the thing I'm really wondering right now. It just doesn't make sense to me still.
But they basically repeated the same formula over and over again and hoped for something new. The shock and emotion started to feel like a tired trope, and the plots converged together into a predictable, repeatable, and scalable formula instead of something truly creative and unique. A studio that was once touted for its risk-taking and unique.
No, let's rewind that real quick. Is that Clementine?
Predictable, repeatable, and scalable formula instead of something truly creative and unique. A studio that was once touted for its risk-taking and unique storytelling began to do the exact opposite. Characters started to feel either like carbon copies of characters from previous games or just completely generic and uninspired.
I can actually see that. With
the exception of a few minor plot changes, each story felt like a copy and paste from previous titles. Even the choices were affected by this formulaic approach, with each choice feeling less and less impactful to the story at large. The hype and positive sentiment of the fanbase began rapidly dropping with each release, as Telltale went from a studio that seemed to do nothing wrong to a studio that seemed to do nothing right. As the failed releases began to pile up, Telltale's financial problems returned. With these issues came pressure to release quicker and quicker. The need to speed up was a counterproductive one and only led to a
so many spoilers. Y'all boys know I'm not that deep into the game, but we already see the black woman's baby. Oh my days, I'm hating this right now, bruh. I also wish he would have popped a chart on screen, right? To show us, like, first Walking Dead game 28 million copies sold. Next, Walking Dead 23. Tales from the Badlands 15. Minecraft 12, and then Game of Thrones 2 million. You know, that would have been sick to see like the downfall year by year, whatever it is.
Pressure
You know?
to release quicker and quicker. The need to speed up was a counterproductive one and only led to a further drop in the quality of the games
You didn't
and a
need to speed
crunch
up.
culture
You wanted
problem
to.
that would cause a snowball effect and send Telltale Games into a downward spiral.
I hate when they say something like that. You did not need to speed up, bruh. People would have been fine with waiting a little bit longer for a good product, and you know that too. That's exactly what happened to what's it called, Cyberpunk 7055 or whatever. You know, like now it's a great game. I've been getting told it's a good game. They fixed up all the bugs and stuff, but they released it too early. You know, they rush it too much. That's on you. Don't try to blame the people, dog.
They probably needed a nap after this because things were about to get even crazier. And for their sake, I hope they use the sponsor. Now,
I'm hoping I can get some
to look a bit deeper.
nothings.
10% downward spiral, and to understand how this happened in the first place, we need to look a bit deeper into what was actually going on internally at Telltale during this time, and
This is what we
specifically
need to
discuss one of the founders of the company, Kevin Bruner. Shortly after the release of The Wolf Among Us, the studio lost two of their most talented developers and writers, Sean Vanaman and Jake Rodkin,
What
the
happened?
masterminds behind many early Telltale titles like Sam & Max and the Monkey Island series. They had also played a pivotal role in the success of Season 1 of The Walking Dead. They had decided to leave to open their own studio called Campo Santo, known for their story-based title called Firewatch. The loss of this duo was
No way they made Firewatch. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've heard of Firewatch. I used to see it all over Steam. Like that was like Steam's #1 game for a little while. I don't know what the hell these boys are up to now, but congratulations to them. Like you can clearly see that they did something good. I also wanted to say a little bit earlier. You saw how what's it called, Lucas Games. They were firing people, so they had 2 people who left. Went to make their own studio. Obviously, came up with Telltale's games. Okay. Telltale's corrupted or crashed, lost 250 people. Did anybody other than the Firewatch was actually go on to do something notable or not?
almost certainly a contributing factor in the decrease in innovation and uniqueness in the releases following their departure, which was seen as soon as the second season of The Walking Dead released. Despite a generally positive reception, most would say that this game certainly wasn't an improvement on the original season. But this is beside the point.
Am I weird or can anybody else relate? Because I truly did like the story in season 2 way better than season 1, you know? Season 1 got you in. I'm going to be honest with you. Season 1 was amazing. It was beautiful. It got you into the story. But season 2 was just more like succinct, you know? It was straight to the point. Meat and potatoes, straight to the bangers. That's what we need.
The real question is this: why would Vanaman and Rodkin leave the studio in the first place? Well, a major contributing factor to why they left was their issues with co-founder Kevin Bruner. Bruner was in a management position, while the duo worked primarily on creative projects. And allegedly, Bruner had been jealous of the praise that Vanaman and Rodkin had received for their writing and storytelling. This jealousy became a problem, and it started to cause a massive bottleneck where Bruner was micromanaging every detail of the creative process, nitpicking everything to do with storylines, character development, and overall game design.
Ego's the death of everything creative, man. You can see it right here, right now, man. When you start letting your ego get involved because people are getting pats on the back, that's when everything corrupts, man. So many people lost their job because one man couldn't keep his ego in check. Just think about that next time.
Despite having gotten their way with The Walking Dead Season 1, the pair couldn't be asked to continue fighting with Bruner over every single decision, and they decided to leave. These two wouldn't be the only ones that would leave either. The directors, animators, and writers also would head for the door to find greener pastures, some joining Vanaman and Rodkin at Campo Santo, and some creating their own indie projects.
Looks like it worked out.
Despite these losses, the studio did not slow down. Instead, they pushed it into another gear. At the time, over 300 employees worked on multiple titles simultaneously, including Game of Thrones, Tales from the Borderlands, and Minecraft Story Mode. Each of these games were all rushed out in a time frame that was simply not sustainable, and what this ended up doing was creating a crunch culture where many of the employees were working 14 to 18-hour days trying to...
That's unreasonable, boy. Come on, dog. Like, What is the rush? You lost two of your biggest developers, some of the owners of the company, and you're saying, you know what? Now that we lost some of the biggest members of our team, let's try to work a little bit quicker than we were working with people that were actually important and knew what they were doing, you know? You have to be bringing either fresh meat on or you're understaffed now, and you're saying now is the time to work faster? Are you stupid? Bro, some people just don't deserve to be in management positions. It's clear. You can see it right here, man. Come
crunch
on.
culture where many of the employees were working 14 to 18-hour days trying
That's
to stick
crazy.
to the insane schedule that was being forced on them. So the employees didn't perform very well, and the games themselves were not up to the quality of the early Telltale successes.
Understandable,
and not to
bro.
mention, making so many games based on purchased IPs made it to where Telltale had to report to other companies, and devs would often be asked to redo huge portions of the game at the last minute. Telltale began to prioritize output over employee well-being, and morale, as well as the games themselves, began to suffer because of it. Extreme growth was the goal, and this increase in output would lead to the biggest project Telltale had ever been involved in, Batman. This game was expensive, not only because of the development cost, but also because of how expensive it is to license legacy established IP like this. They hoped that a Batman game would once again provide the spark that the original Walking Dead Season 1 had found, that it would reignite the passion that fans once had. But ironically, the first season of Batman would not only cause fans to lose interest in Telltale, but to turn against them entirely. When this game
It is kind of hard to say because Batman is the game that got me into like the Telltales loop, right? It's the one that started to open my mind to point and click games and be like, oh, these are actually like movies right here. I am basically not doing anything except for sitting back and watching an entire film play out in front of me. I truly do not usually like superhero stuff, but doing something like this, being able to watch it in a medium like this is amazing. I low-key wish at this point Disney, Lucas, industry films, somebody big comes to and buys up Telltales because they have so much potential to them, bruh. If they keep making superhero movies, I'm gonna become a superhero fan, guaranteed, man. This is what we need.
game launched, everyone was underwhelmed. People were tired of experiencing the same thing every single time. The games had just become predictable, boring, and pointless, and the Telltale tool engine that they'd been using for a decade was starting to show its age. The engine was clunky, restrictive, and just overall lacking in many aspects. It was good when it was first unveiled, but a decade later, its lack of a dedicated physics system and other drastic shortcomings would prevent Telltale games from innovating and doing new things.
Shout out to
It was
Epic
simplistic
Games.
enough to allow for releasing a large quantity of games, but didn't allow much room for creative expression, if the devs had any time for that in the first place. It became obvious to fans, critics, and even employees of the studio that the engine needed an upgrade. Well, except Kevin Bruner. Instead of accepting the limitations of his creation and listening to the fan base, Bruner remained stubborn, claiming that the similarities between games were intentional and that they wanted the games to have a baseline feel that would be enhanced by the writing. And the fan base did not accept this explanation. And after the less than exciting launches of Game of Thrones and Tales from the Borderlands, followed by the underwhelming release of the Batman game, the company began to face some financial troubles, and this would mark the beginning of the end for Telltale Games.
Shout out to Kevin Bruner, bro, because once again, he's giving us a masterclass on what not to do, bro. People are legitimately coming to you, you know? Fans of the video game are coming to you and telling you, you know what? This isn't working for us, man. You gotta fix it up for us to continue supporting your IP, your EP, your games, your whatever, dog. And this guy is saying, you know what? It was intentional. Shut the hell up and go sit down and play my game, because I know you're gonna buy it no matter what. Who do you really think you are, you goofball? This guy is really getting me mad now, because he ruined something great. This could have been amazing.
Stepped down as CEO in 2017.
Too late now.
Hired former Zynga CEO Pete Hawley to attempt to fix the sinking ship. Pete's first order of business was simple: downsizing. He would let go of nearly 25% of the company in an attempt to return to its small-scale roots. Stating,
so you're saying, like, the thing you gotta think about is obviously in his situation he has to do that, bruh. They have no money at all, but you're saying me and my boy who was bouncing ideas off last week can't bounce ideas off each other no more? That's kind of stupid, you know? Me and the guy who I used to ask for help on how to code the game, how to design the characters, I can't ask for help no more. Are you serious? Like, is a hard one. You know, it's a lose-lose situation.
That
Literally.
he wanted to produce fewer games with a smaller team, just like the good old days. There were a few games in the pipeline, and inevitably, none of these would hit quite like the early Telltale successes. So, in an attempt to reacquire their old fan base, the final season of The Walking Dead would be announced alongside a follow-up to the beloved Wolf Among Us game. From the outside, it seemed as though this new plan may turn things
That's
around.
kinda cool.
All they needed to do was deliver a few high-quality continuations of their most beloved titles, and they would be good to go without the massive burden of a bloated studio. It was by all accounts sink or swim for Telltale. Everything was on the line, and if these games didn't succeed, they would be in a really rough spot. But unfortunately, the first episode of The Walking Dead's final season was also met with a lukewarm response. For the most part, those who played it enjoyed it, but for the studio, their main financial issue at hand was not being solved. The problem came with the sales numbers. Not enough people were buying the game to begin with. They swung for the fences, and unfortunately, they missed. And exactly 1 month later would mark the final nail in the coffin for Telltale, as on September 18th, 2018, they would let go of nearly 250 employees and cancel all of the previously announced projects. Episode 2 of The Walking Dead's final season would still be released the following week, but the status of the remaining 2 episodes was completely unknown. In a final shred of good news, they would eventually announce that they'd kept a skeleton crew of about 25 people who would finish up the projects that they currently had going. Shortly after this, they would release the second season of Minecraft Story Mode and the final edition of The Walking Dead. But this was the end, and the once beloved studio began its fade from the spotlight.
I'm gonna be honest with you. For some reason, like, this is so sad right here, man. Like, I'm starting to lose faith in the gaming industry in general now. I don't know what it is, bruh. There's just something missing with Telltales being gone now. You know, so many people are losing their jobs, and it's like we're never gonna be able to see another game, man. All these classic relics are just gone to the wind, man. If y'all boys need some money, I'll throw y'all boys like $25, maybe $100. You know, bring the company back, please. I'm begging you.
Devastating mass layoffs on September 21st, 2018 had already shattered the studio. Legal battles followed, and on October 2018, Telltale filed for assignment. While a fragment of Telltale lives on under new ownership, the studio, as it was known, is forever gone, leaving a bittersweet legacy in the gaming world. The impact of their model, particularly seen in the first season of The Walking Dead and The Wolf Among Us, continues to influence game development today. Impactful choices and branching narratives have now become a staple in modern gaming, showing the enduring legacy of their work. Even though the studio's closure was an unfortunate event, there may still be a glimmer of hope for longtime Telltale fans. In August of 2019, a company called LCG Entertainment acquired many of their assets, including some beloved IP. They resurrected the Telltale Games name, though operating as a fundamentally different entity with new leadership and a focus on collaborative partnerships. They even once again announced a second season of The Wolf Among Us, and while it has been delayed several times throughout the process, it's expected to be released sometime in 2024. Are you willing to give Telltale another chance?
Brother, it's 2025 and the year is almost over. I ain't heard nothing new about no Wolf Among Us, dog. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Real spiel stuff right now, man. If anybody is currently looking to sell Telltale's game, I will be down to buy it and all the assets, dog. I am telling you right now, I will put all my life savings, my investments into it. I've never owned a game company before. I've never made a game before, but I'll put all my money into it. Real sport. I'm being serious right now.
Do you think they'll learn from their mistakes and return to what made them successful in the first place, or do you think that their story is a tale of disappointment?
I'm gonna be 100% honest with y'all. It was a beautiful video right there. If y'all did enjoy it, go check out RoboCast because he deserves it, bro. These videos are absolute bangers, and I will definitely be reacting to more of them because he got so many interesting ones. I can't miss out on this right here. I need to be reacting to more of them, my boy. But if you have anything you want to see me react to, let me know in the comments. I'll see you next one, broskies. Do say.